Build to spec. Road construction basics. ETB patching. This video is divided into two sections. The first will describe what you'll need for ETB patching repair. This section will include equipment and materials. The second will describe the process to be followed when ETB patching. The process section is divided into 7 parts: removal of patch, mixing of base material, backfilling, applying the tack coat, surfacing, acceptance criteria, core density tests. Section 1. What you'll need. Equipment. The equipment you'll need for breaking up and excavating the pavement layers will depend on the size and the depth of the section needing repair. Make sure that your equipment is in good working order, capable of obtaining the specified results, and is suited to the size of the patch. In this video, we'll be referring to a medium-sized patch. Necessary equipment includes approved cutting or sawing equipment used for cutting asphalt layers. This equipment must be capable of cutting asphalt layers to depths of 200 mm in one operation without fragmenting the material, and in straight lines within the required tolerances. Appropriate paving breakers. For larger jobs, you may need a milling machine. A generator, an asphalt tipper. Rakes, or for a larger job, an asphalt paver. Appropriate rollers, including a vibratory roller, having a mass approximately equal to that of a Bomag 90 or similar vibratory roller, with an adjustable amplitude and frequency of vibration, and walk-behind rollers if required. A water truck, or drums containing adequate water for the job. Appropriate equipment for moving materials on site. Brooms. A calibrated nuclear gauge. Depending on the specifications given to you, you may need a concrete mixer. Materials. Crushed stone. Crushed stone should be of G3 or better quality from an approved commercial source and must comply with the following requirements. Stabilizing agent. CEM1 cement must be used and must comply with the following requirements. Medium grade asphalt. A 60 or 70 penetration grade bitumen must be used, and the binder type must comply with the following requirements. Tack coat. The tack coat should be 60% cationic emulsion and 40% water, complying with the following. As far as is possible, the size of the area to be repaired should be limited to areas which can be excavated, backfilled, and opened to the traffic in a single working day. If this isn't possible, the contractor must consult with the engineer regarding signs requirement for controlling traffic during the night. No area should be left exposed if rain is imminent. Section 2. The process. Removal of distressed areas. The engineer demarcates any failed areas to be repaired as per spec and instructs the contractor with regard to the repair work to be done. The contractor provides assistance and temporary traffic control facilities for marking out failed sections of the road. Signs should be erected as per spec. Using spray paint, the contractor must clearly mark boundaries of the patch using a broken line. Unless otherwise instructed by the engineer, the repaired area shall have a neat rectangular shape at right angles to the direction of traffic. Next, cut the marked boundaries using a concrete saw. Using hand tools, remove the asphalt layer and place it to one side in a neat pile. Using an appropriate excavation method, remove the base material to a point 200 mm from the surface of the road and stockpile the material neatly. The side slopes of the excavated area should be perpendicular to the horizontal. For each excavated layer, a step shall be created with the horizontal distance equal to the vertical distance to a maximum of 150 mm. Be careful not to damage the underlying layer. Material from one layer may not be mixed with that of another layer. If any mixing is caused by the contractor, the contaminated layer should be removed by the contractor and replaced with other approved material at the contractor's own cost. Once the base has been excavated, using a compactor, walk behind or side on, and compact the floor of the patch to 95% compaction. If the floor material is dry, wet slightly. Once compacted, the subbase should be 150 mm to 300 mm below the final base level. Mixing of base material. Mix the base layer off the road, close to where you're patching, on a flat area with minimal obstructions, in a concrete mixer, or using hand labor. When mixing by hand, pour imported crushed stone material of G3 or better quality onto the level surface. Add the cement. Ensure that the mixture is well mixed and to the satisfaction of the engineer. Now dilute stable grade bitumen emulsion with water so that the moisture content of the mix will be the optimum moisture content for compaction. Add this mixture to the crushed stone material at a rate of 3% mass over mass. Once everything has been mixed, optimum moisture content for compaction can be measured by doing the following. Take a handful of base mixture and squeeze it as tight as you can. No water should leak out of the mixture. If water leaks out, add a bit more aggregate. The mixture should maintain its shape when you open your hand. If it crumbles, add more water. Backfilling of base. Transport the base material to the patch using tools available to you. Prior to backfilling, the base and sides of the excavation must be cleaned of all loose material. Base material should be compacted to 100 mm layers up to a level that is 40 ± 10 mm below the surface of the road. The density of the backfilling of the base layer should be at least 98% of modified AASHTO density. This whole process of transporting, backfilling, and compacting the base material should not exceed 5 hours. In the case of rain, add extra cement to the mix to obtain optimum moisture content, and backfill the hole as quickly as possible. Then cover the area to ensure that no water is allowed into the hole. Please note that this is a temporary measure, and when the weather has cleared, you will be required to remove the temporary base and refill the base as per spec. Applying the tack coat. Ensure that you have a perimeter of at least 100 mm around the edge of the patch. Sweep to ensure that no more than 5% of the old asphalt remains on the base. Apply the tack coat by mixing 60% SS60 and 40% water and applying it to the swept base at a rate of 0.4 liters per square meter with a broom or a concrete brush. Allow the tack coat to break and turn black. Asphalt surfacing. Using an asphalt tipper or other suitable means, distribute medium-grade asphalt onto the patch. Rake the asphalt neatly into the area and ensure that the level is 5 mm above the surface of the road to allow for compaction. Keep in mind that if the mix is allowed to cool below 185 degrees before rolling, adequate compaction will not be possible. So the mix should be rolled as soon as possible after it has been laid by a vibratory roller. The rollers should move at a slow but uniform speed. During rolling of asphalt surfacing, keep the roller wheels moist with just enough water to stop the material sticking to the wheel. After longitudinal joints and edges have been compacted, start rolling longitudinally at the sides and gradually progress towards the center of the pavement. On super elevated curves or where the repair area has a crossfall, start rolling on the low side and progress to the higher side, uniformly lapping each track, covering the entire surface. The crossfall of the completed area must be equal to that of the adjacent surface to within a tolerance of ± 0.5% crossfall. The contractor must utilize a calibrated nuclear gauge for process control during compaction operations in order to ensure optimum compaction. Once compaction is complete, paint all the joints of the new and old asphalt with a solution of equal proportions of water and SS60 using a concrete brush. Reference the patch by painting the patch number and the date on the adjacent existing surfacing. Using the truck that bought the asphalt, load all your spoil material and dump it at a designated dumping site. When using a paver for larger patches, The sit-on vibratory roller should be nearest the paver, unless otherwise specified on account of steep gradients. In restricted areas where the specified rollers cannot be used, compaction shall be carried out with hand-operated mechanical compaction equipment or approved smaller vibratory rollers. Acceptance criteria for the completed patch includes: the edges of the completed surfacing must not be above the existing surface by more than 3 mm. The edges or any part of the patch area must not be below the surrounding road surface. The thickness of the asphalt surfacing at any point must be 40 ± 10 mm. When tested with a 3 meter straight edge laid parallel or at right angles to the road centerline, the surface of the area shall not deviate from the bottom of the straight edge by more than 5 mm. Testing pavement density using cores. Once the ETB patching job is complete, recovered core samples must be given to the engineer for acceptance control purposes. The compacted pavement must have a density as measured on the recovered core equal to or greater than 97% of the theoretical maximum density, minus the percentage voids in the approved production mix, determined as described in TMH1 method C4. Acceptance criteria for the core: no cracks or hairline cracks can be formed, and the bond with the underlying layer shall not be broken. The density shall be uniform over the whole area of the layer and extend over the full depth of the layer. These density requirements remain applicable throughout the full layer, irrespective of the method of compaction. Modified AASH-TO densities shall be determined using TMH1 method A1 6T and method A7.